Topic 3.4, multiplying mixed numbers. How can we solve this problem? Akachita volunteered for 3.5 hours at the local food bank, and Anita volunteered for 2/3 of the time that Akachita did. How long did Anita volunteer for? Well, we know that Anita volunteered for 2/3 of the time that Akachita did, and that is 3.5 hours. So what we're trying to determine is 2/3 of 3.5 hours. Now, the word "of" in a problem involving fractions is an indication that what we're being asked to do is multiply. So that's what we're going to do here. Now, one way that we can solve this problem is to convert this mixed number into an improper fraction. And we do that by taking this 3, multiplying it by 2 to get 6, and then adding this 1 here. Okay, so that would mean 7 over 2. We multiplied 3 by 2 because really for every whole number here, there are 2 halves. So that's just a quick way to figure out how many halves are there in the number 3. 3 times 2 is 6, and then we add this extra half over here. So 7 halves is the value. And then what we can do is just multiply 2/3 times 7 over 2. So that would equal 14 over 6. Now both 14 and 6 are even numbers, so we know that they're both divisible by 2. We can use that information to simplify this. 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so in other words, 7/3. Well, it takes 3/3 to make a whole. So what we can do is we can write this as a mixed number now. It might be a little simpler to read because we're dealing with a time value than 7/3 of an hour. So 3 goes into 7 2 whole times. In other words, 2 full hours. And then there's 1/3 of an hour left over. So 2 1/3 hours is what Anita worked. Let's try a few more problems. 3 times 2 1/4. Now, any whole number can be written as a fraction over 1. Because if you divide any whole number by 1, it retains its value. It doesn't change. So doing that can help us multiply straight across once we have our improper fraction over here. So then we need to create an improper fraction out of this mixed number. We do that by multiplying this 2 by this 4. Okay? Considering that every one of these whole numbers has 4 quarters. That's why that method works. So 2 times 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add this 1. Okay, because there's 1 additional quarter. So we can rewrite this whole equation as 3 over 1 times 9 over 4. Okay, and once we have our fractions written that way, we can just multiply straight across. 3 times 9 is equal to 27. 1 times 4 is equal to 4. We're essentially dividing 27 by 4 to find out how many wholes there are and seeing how many there are left. How about the next problem? 2 1/8 times 3 3/4. Well, in this case we have 2 mixed numbers, and we'll want to convert them into improper fractions so that we can multiply them straight across. It's actually a common mistake to try to just multiply the whole numbers together and then just multiply the fractions together and put them together in the end. You can try that. It is a common mistake, and you will find that it will not give you the right answer. So convert them into improper fractions first, and then multiply straight across. So let's do that. 2 times 8 plus 1, that would be 17 over 8, times 3 times 4 plus 3. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 3 would be 15 over 4. 17 times 15 is 255. And 8 times 4 is 32. Now 32 goes into 255 7 whole times, and 31 over 32. So very close to 8 whole times. How about this last one? So 7 3/8 times 2 and 4/5. Let's convert both of these into improper fractions first. So 7 times 8 is 56. 56 plus 3/8 is 59 over 8. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 plus 4 is 14. This is over 5. 59 times 14 is 826. And 8 times 5 is 40. Now we can simplify these. They're both even numbers, so we can halve them, or divide them by 2. That would be 413 over 20. And then we need to determine how many 20s go into 400. Well, there are 5 20s in every 100. So that means there would be 20 20s in 400. So that would be 20, and there would be 13 20ths as a remainder.